Hello everyone, welcome to Inconvenient Truths. I'm your host, Jennifer Zeng. I'm not sure whether you've read such a joke or not. In totalitarian countries, first, people are persecuted for criticizing the dictator. Secondly, they are persecuted for remaining silent and not praising the dictator. Thirdly, they will be persecuted for not praising the dictator enthusiastically enough. You think this is a joke? Well, this joke has just become reality in Hong Kong, with Hong Kong's richest man Li Ka-shing as the latest example. A recent photo of Li Ka-shing receiving a Pfizer vaccine instead of a China-made one has once again drawn attention to the relationship between Li and the Chinese Communist Party, the CCP. On April 16th, the Li Ka-shing Foundation posted a photo of Li receiving a CCP virus vaccine on its Facebook page, captioned, "I'm getting my vaccination today, have you got yours?" Patrick Nip, Secretary for the Civil Service of Hong Kong, quickly responded by thanking Li for his support of Hong Kong's vaccination program. However, people noticed that the 92-year-old Li chose to receive the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine and not the China-made Sinovac vaccine that the Hong Kong government has been pushing hard. Before Hong Kong's mass protests in 2019, Li had been a long-term favorite of the CCP, with the CCP trying to make good use of him to expand its influence. He not only invested heavily in mainland China, but also helped the CCP to secure many international projects. However, during the anti-extradition bill protests in Hong Kong, Li failed to show his support for the CCP, and that was when the CCP started to marginalize the property tycoon who was no longer obedient to the party. Earlier this month, Hong Kong began to implement the reforms passed by the CCP's National People's Congress for the city's electoral system on March 30th, which is widely seen as a move by the CCP to marginalize the local business elite. The new rules reduce the number of directly elected lawmakers to the city's legislative council, while expanding the total number of seats from 70 to 90, as well as expanding the number of members of Hong Kong's Electoral Commission, which selects the city's chief executive from 1,200 to 1,500. This reform means that the CCP will have more control over Hong Kong's election committee, and Hong Kong's freedom is even more dead, if it is even possible to be more dead after you have already died. Talking about Hong Kong's freedom being dead, let me show you a short clip first. What we are watching is that at about 4 a.m. in the morning on April 12th this month, 4 men broke into the printing factory of the Epoch Times newspaper in Hong Kong and then smashed the machines as well as the computers. They also threw a lot of lime, powder, and stones onto the machines, did a lot of damage, and then ran away. As a result, the Hong Kong Epoch Times was not able to print any newspapers until 4 days later, when they urgently repaired the machines. By the way, the Epoch Times is one of the only few media in Hong Kong that remains independent of the CCP. On November 19th in 2019, a similar event also happened to the printing factory of the Epoch Times newspaper in Hong Kong. 4 men armed with short sticks burst into the factory and threatened the workers. One of them poured gasoline on the ground and another one lit a fire. Then they quickly fled. Another fact is the police in Hong Kong never managed to catch those men who did the damage. Who are they? I highly suspect that they were hired by the CCP. Otherwise, who has the motive to smash the printing factory of a newspaper? Now, the picture we are seeing is a thumbnail photo from the Hong Kong Epoch Times talk show program airing last December, with me as a guest. The another lady in the photo is the host, Sarah Liang. She's also a reporter of the Epoch Times. We talked about the CCP's influence operation in the US and the world. Now let's watch a video Sarah shot yesterday after she found that this man was following her on the street. The man ran away after he found out that Sarah was recording him. Actually, on April 24th, a strange man even went to Sarah's home to harass her. This man said to the security guard of the apartment building that he had something to deliver to Sarah. He was then allowed to go upstairs to Sarah Liang's apartment. When he saw Sarah, he only said, "Aren't you Sarah?" But Sarah didn't know him, nor did he have anything to deliver to her. He refused to tell her who he was either and went away. So Sarah followed him downstairs and took this photo of him. So this is how serious the situation is in Hong Kong. People have not only lost the right to elect the Legislative Council members, but also the right to enjoy free speech. A printing factory of an independent media is smashed, and journalists are being followed on the street. What will happen next? Now, let's go back to Li Ka-shing's story. A day after Beijing's rubber stamp legislature passed the new patriotic election law, the pro-Beijing Hong Kong government under Chief Executive Carrie Lam took the lead to actively stating its support. But of the 4 major property developers in Hong Kong, Li's Tze-keung holding was 1 day late to express its support, and it made its position known on April the 1st, April's Fool Day. In the meantime, while many patriotic and Hong Kong-loving organizations were added to the newly expanded Election Commission, Federation of Hong Kong Cultural Community Organizations, which has Li as its honorary president, was excluded. Disappointed by this decision, the Federation has sent a letter to Carrie Lam expressing its views. The CCP has been using Hong Kong capital to invest in its strategic projects around the world. As Hong Kong's richest man, Li could hardly avoid the fate of acting as an agent for the CCP's global expansion. Li's investments have focused on strategic projects in Europe and Australia in communications, power, ports, and natural gas pipelines. However, several of his attempts to invest in the United States were blocked because of his dealings with the CCP. As of October 2015, Li controlled nearly 30% of the natural gas market, a quarter of the electricity distribution market, and 5% of the water supply market in the United Kingdom, which is his main country of investment. Meanwhile, Li's KaShing Holdings consolidated its position in the European telecommunications market with a major acquisition spree that unified his telecommunication businesses in 6 European countries, Hong Kong and Macau. In November 2020, KaShing sold its European wireless tower business for about $11.7 billion to improve its operational efficiency and accelerate 5G rollout. In July 2018, it acquired the remaining half of Zeng, an Italian telecommunications company, for about $2.95 billion. In May last year, CK-Holding put in a $1.5 billion bid for the construction of the world's largest desalination plant in Israel, but the bid was rejected by Israel's defense minister. Former U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo also opposed Chinese investment in Israeli infrastructure. Had the bid not ended in failure, CK-Holding would have controlled nearly a quarter of Israel's water industry, and desalination is a key project in the CCP's Made in China 2025 program. Also, the plant is very close to an empty military base and nuclear research facilities in Israel, and that was another reason for the strong opposition from Israel's defense minister. Back in 1997, Li's Ka-shing acquired the 25-year rights to operate two major ports on the Panama Canal, one of the world's two major canals. Ka-shing has also invested heavily in development near the ports. This set off alarm bells in U.S. security circles because of Li's personal friendship with several top Chinese officials, including senior figures in the PLA, People's Liberation Army. In a U.S. House hearing on Panama Canal in 1999, Ka-shing's connection with the inner circle of Beijing's ruling elite was especially highlighted. Representative Dana Rarabacher mentioned in the hearing that, quote, "With the exit of American security forces, the situation in Panama is deteriorating. I recently visited Panama and it was very evident. The men and Chinese criminal triad gangs, some of whom have ties to Chinese intelligence agencies, are active throughout Panama," unquote. In the same year when Ka-shing acquired the ports, Panama broke off diplomatic relations with Taiwan and switched to ally with the CCP. By 2006, Ka-shing Port Holdings had assumed control of scores of potential economic choke points, including 169 berths at 41 ports worldwide. These facilities control about 15% of global maritime container traffic. Also, 10% of the Hutchison Panama Ports Corporation is owned by China Resources Enterprise, which is the commercial arm of China's Ministry of Trade and Economic Cooperation. In its investigation into the CCP's attempts to influence the 1996 U.S. presidential campaign, the U.S. Senate Government Affairs Committee identified China Resource Enterprise as a conduit for espionage, economic, political, and military for China. Republican Senator Trent Lott has described Li's Hong Kong firm as, quote, "an arm of the People's Liberation Army," unquote. The relationship between the Li family and the CCP began during Deng Xiaoping's era and entered a honeymoon period after Jiang Zemin took power, when he received special treatment because of his investment in China. In May 1969, Li's eldest son, Victor Li Tze-keung, was kidnapped by crime king big spender Tze-keung, and Li was extorted for $1 billion. According to the April Daily, after Zeng successfully extorted the $1 billion and escaped to mainland China, Li Ka-shing managed to appear very calm on the surface, but secretly reported this matter to Jiang Zemin. Jiang expressed deep sympathy and indignation and ordered to have Zeng arrested. The CCP police in Guangdong successfully found and caught Zeng, who was later sentenced to death and executed at gunpoint on December 5, 1998. During the 2019 anti-extradition protests, the CCP forced Hong Kong's elite from all walks of life to express their support for the CCP's crackdown. Almost all Chinese-language newspapers in Hong Kong, with the exception of the Apple Daily and the Epoch Times, published pro-CCP content. At the peak of all the saga, on August 16, 2019, Li placed an advertisement in the name of a Hong Kong resident with the main message, "The men of Huangtai cannot bear the Peking again." This ad is based on a poem written by Crown Prince Li Xian during the reign of Wu Zetian in the Tang Dynasty. That was about more than 1,000 years ago. After Wu Zetian killed one of Li Xian's brothers, Li Xian wrote the poem begging Wu Zetian not to kill more people. However, Li Xian was later also killed by Wu Zetian. So Li Ka-shing's advertisement was widely interpreted as a subtle shout out to Beijing. On May 27th last year, the Hong Kong newspaper Da Gong Bao asked Li about his attitude toward the CCP's intention to pass the Hong Kong National Security Law. Li said, quote, "I hope the passage of the National Security Law will ease the central government's worries about Hong Kong and play a positive role in the long-term stability and development. The government of the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region is duty-bound to consolidate Hong Kong people's confidence in one country, two systems, and strengthen the trust of the international community," unquote. But on the next day, the Da Gong Bao's report was titled, "Li Ka-shing, National Security Law plays a positive role in long-term stable development." The article described Li's hopes for the national security law as certainty. After Da Gong Bao published this article, many media outlets also sought to interview Li, but he declined all requests, claiming that he was sick with the flu. As a matter of fact, since 2013, Li has been selling off his assets in China and Hong Kong, cashing in at least 250 billion Hong Kong dollars, or about 32 billion US dollars. The sales include Beijing Pacific Central Place, Metropolitan Plaza in Guangzhou, the Oriental Financial Center in Shanghai, Shanghai Shenbang International Building, his property in Hong Kong, and his 20% stake in Hong Kong Electric. After Li started to sell his assets in China, Xinhua News Agency's think tank, the Liaowang Institute, published an article titled, "Don't Let Li Ka-shing Run Away," labeling any attempt by Li to leave China as an act of moral failure. The article begins, quote, "Business is like a stream of water in the first place, and it is the nature of capital to seek profit. Li can go wherever he wants to go. However, given the nature of how Li gained his wealth in China in the past 2 decades, his affairs seem to be more than simply business. As we all know, in China, the real estate industry is very close to power. Without power resources, it is impossible to do real estate business. The wealth of real estate, thus, does not come entirely from a thoroughgoing market economy. In this regard, it is inappropriate for Li Ka-shing to just run away as long as he wants to." Unquote. The article asserted that as a person who has gained a lot from his partnership with China, Li had 3 missions to fulfill before he could turn his back on China. 1. Paying back the poor by being responsible to the society. 2. Stabilizing Hong Kong and assuming the responsibility of a business leader. 3. Doing more good deeds and running businesses for the society. On May 27, 2019, the major Chinese website Sina.com published an article titled, "Li Ka-shing really ran away." The article says, quote, "A group of businessmen led by Li Ka-shing, who enjoyed the dividends of China's reform and opening up, started to cash out in the process of China's economic transformation and upgrading. There is nothing wrong for businessmen to pursue profits, but don't let those businessmen who used all the under-the-table rules to gain profits to damage the credit of business and erode the foundation of China's economy." Unquote. Well, that's all for today's Inconvenient Truths. I personally think Li is very wise to choose to run away from China as early as 2013, when many people were still rushing into China. Sometimes it is more important and more difficult to know when to exit, and maybe only a small number of people can make the right choice. By the way, I just opened a new channel. I plan to do a series of programs in Chinese to talk about in detail my personal experience in Chinese jails and the labor camp for practicing Falun Gong. If you have any Chinese-speaking friends and families, please ask them to subscribe to that channel. I have put a link in the description box under the video. Thank you so much. See you soon.